Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video, we are tackling a very thought-provoking anime that sparked a lot of discussion amongst fans, Death Parade. Originally produced by Madhouse and directed by Yuzuru Tachikawa, Death Parade evolved from a short film called Death Billiards. We'll dig into the history of this show a bit later, but before we go any further, make sure to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss any updates. Now without further ado, let's get it. Death Parade first aired on Nippon TV on January 10th, 2015, and ran until March 28th, 2015. Though it didn't span nearly as long as some other anime series, it received widespread acclaim. Many critics praised its intense psychological themes and moral questions. Unlike adaptations that draw from an existing manga, Death Parade was an original creation. It was written and directed by Yuzuru Tachikawa and carved out its own dedicated following. Its focus on judgment games that decide the fate of the newly deceased made it stand out in a sea of more conventional anime plots. The series ultimately ran for 12 episodes. So let's get into the story. In a mysterious realm called the Quindecum, a bar that exists between life and death, souls gather to face judgment through a series of high-stakes games. Here, every contest forces the participants to confront buried memories, painful betrayals, and the dark corners of their past, while a silent arbiter named Decum oversees their fate. One fateful night, newlyweds, Takashi and Machiko, arrive at Quindecum. Unaware that they are already dead, they are coerced into a deadly game of darts. Each throw inflicts pain on one partner based on where the dart lands. As the game unfolds, flickers of memory surface. Takashi recalls his nagging suspicion that Machiko had been unfaithful, even though she denies it. In a desperate bid to secure victory, Takashi manipulates the game, landing the final decisive hit. In the bitter aftermath, Machiko bitterly reveals that she married him for his money. Before further violence can erupt, Decum intervenes. The final judgment is swift. Takashi is granted reincarnation, while Machiko is condemned to the void. Shortly thereafter, a nameless black-haired woman is introduced by Nona, a higher arbiter, to serve as Decum's assistant. She is thrust into the role without any memory of her past, her only guide being Nona's cryptic explanations of the games. As she reviews the events of Takashi and Machiko's match, she wonders whether Machiko's harsh words might have been a final attempt to protect Takashi's soul rather than an admission of guilt. Decum too finds himself questioning the simplicity of his judgments. Not long after, two amnesiac teenagers then arrive. The boy, who eventually recalls his name as Shigeru Miura, and the girl, initially known as Chisato Miyazaki, are set to play a peculiar game of 10-pin bowling. In this match, each bowling ball holds the other's heart, its pulsing rhythm reflecting their owner's inner emotions. As the game unfolds, fragments of shared past begin to emerge. Both remember a fateful bus crash that ended their lives, and hints of a deep, once-cherished friendship resurface. However, in a twist of revelation, the girl is actually revealed to be Mai Takada. She has altered her appearance in a desperate bid to resemble the lost friend Shigeru remembers. In the end, both are granted the chance at reincarnation, and their bittersweet reunion marks a moment of hope amidst all their pain. Later that evening, a troubled teenager named Yosuke Tateishi and a self-absorbed TV celebrity, Masaki Tachibana, find themselves at Quindecum. Masaki, convinced that she's on a hidden camera show, insists on playing along as they participate in an arcade fighting game. Their match quickly descends into chaos as traumatic memories surge forth. Masaki recalls cycles of abusive relationships, while Yosuke is haunted by the troubled past that drove him to unalive himself. When Masaki's paranoia peaks, she resorts to physical violence against Yosuke. The brutal encounter ends in a double knockout and the grim truth sets in. Masaki and Yosuke had both already died. Decum's cold judgment is merciless. Yosuke is sent on to reincarnation, while Masaki, overwhelmed by her dark past, is sent to the void. Boom! Yo, my boy Decum cold. Throughout these events, the nameless assistant continues to be haunted by recurring dreams, a boy and a girl whose presence is echoed in a mysterious panel behind the bar, and in the pages of a children's book titled Shava, that Nona is seen reading. Soon, a new test unfolds, when a man and a young boy enter the bar. The man, convinced he has been here before, becomes violent. Before Decum can intervene, both the man and the assistant are sedated by the young boy, who is revealed to be another arbiter in disguise, known as Jinty. Accusing Decum of lax judgment, his intervention underscores the precarious balance between following protocols and understanding the complexity of human nature. Nona later explains that this confrontation was a deliberate test, one meant to expose the limitations of Dekum's seemingly rigid methods. Elsewhere, in a separate Arbiter's domain, a bubbly schoolgirl named Mayu Arita and a member of a popular boy band, Harada, are drawn into a life-or-death game of Twister hosted by Jinty. The rules are twisted. Each color panel on the game mat triggers drastic temperature shifts, turning the playful game into a perilous contest over a pit of spikes. When a sudden turn of events forces a deadly decision, Mayu, with a selfless determination, sacrifices herself for Harada. In the ensuing moments, painful memories arise. Mayu recalls her death from a simple fall on soap, while Harada is tormented by the memory of being killed by a vengeful ex. Their shared grief is briefly transformed into a fleeting concert performance for the Arbiter's staff, a moment of reluctant unity in a harsh world. In the midst of these events, the assistant's recollection deepens. Finding the Shravat book, she regains fragmented memories, realizing, with dawning horror, that she too is dead. Dekum reveals that the book once belonged to Quinn, a former arbiter who now works with the Information Bureau, a figure who once questioned the emotionless nature of their judgments. In a quiet interlude, Dekum shows his assistant a collection of mannequins fashioned in the likeness of past guests, ensuring that none are entirely forgotten. Nona then introduces two new guests, Shimada, a young man burned by the weight of a dark past, and Tatsumi, a detective with his own secrets. Yo, everybody in the show got secrets, eh? Like, when is somebody gonna come on the show and just be clean and normal and not need to have their whole receipts pulled out from under them? But back to the show anyways. They are set to play a dangerous game of air hockey, where each puck scored inflicts pain on specific organs. As the match progresses, long-suppressed memories surface. Shimada recalls caring for his younger sister, and Tatsumi remembers the brutal murder of his wife. Both men, gradually piecing together their past transgressions, are revealed to actually be the killers. In a they deserve to have their receipts pulled, never mind. In a crescendo of violence, Shimada's anger overcomes him, and despite the assistant's desperate objection to a simplistic judgment based solely on memories, he kills Tatsumi. The final act of this grim contest leaves Dekum shaken and forces him to confront the limitations of his role. Haunted by the consequences of his judgments, Dekum begins to question whether he truly understands the souls passing through his bar. Nona reminds him that he must still judge his own assistant, lest she devolve into an emotionless dummy. Shortly after, an elderly illustrator named Sachiko Yomura appears. In a tender game of Old Maid using cards with personal symbols, Sachiko quickly realizes that she too is also dead. As her memories and the assistant's recollections converge, she recalls her own identity, Chiyuki, and the tragic tale of a former life as a promising figure skater. After getting a severe knee injury, her dreams were shattered, and in a moment of deep depression, led her to unalive herself. Dekum, intent on understanding the depth of Chiyuki's suffering, asks her to perform on an ice rink within Quindekum. As she glides across the ice, her past is reborn in full force, both the joy from her former life and the crushing sorrow that followed after. In a final, heart-wrenching test, Dekum offers her a chance to return to life, but only at the cost of another soul. Faced with the vivid memory of a loving mother waiting at home, Chiyuki, surprisingly, rejects the offer. This choice, filled with selfless sorrow, awakens something unexpected within Dekum. For the first time, he is overtaken by a genuine emotion, a realization that true judgment might demand more than cold calculation. As the cycle nears its end, Oculus, a superior figure among the Arbiters, and Nona deliberate over these events. They question whether an Arbiter, bound by ancient rules, can ever truly grasp the depth of human emotion, suffering, and compassion. With Chiyuki's final departure to reincarnation, and the preservation of her likeness in the form of a mannequin at the bar, Dekum is left to ponder the delicate balance between mercy and judgment. In this strange and sorrowful space, where every game reveals hidden truths and every soul is forced to face their own demons, Quindekum continues its cycle. Guests arrive, play their fated games, and depart either into reincarnation or the void. And amid it all, Dekum, now subtly changed by the humanity he witnesses every day, welcomes the next lost soul with a quiet, knowing smile. An acknowledgement that even in judgment, there lies the potential for compassion, understanding, and redemption. And that is the end of Death Parade. And just like how Dekum passed judgment on all those who came into his bar, and if you are starting to feel a genuine emotion about loving the breakdowns and want to help me keep making them every week, consider becoming an S-rank supporter right here on YouTube. For just the cost of a matcha, you'll get a loyalty badge next to your name, exclusive polls, and my priority reply to your comments. Plus, you'll be directly powering the channel so I can keep delivering the anime content you love. Just click join under the video to become part of the squad. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching the video. Slap the like button, pass judgment on the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss another video. And until next time, peace.